I don't think anybody's touched the mic.
Don't be messing with me. Right?
What do you mean?
You're just constantly doing stuff.
I'm just trying to. I mean, I would hate
you probably got up, walked around, moved the mic, and said that no one else touched the mic, which is true. No one else did, but you did. So therefore, you're correct.
Grammatically. I just hate to be a good pole vaulter anymore.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going there.
All right. Welcome back into another episode of Where the Game Lives On, the official podcast of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. Day of release, August the 14th, episode 30 here. Episode 30. We're flying through this year. Holy cow.
Already halfway through August.
I know. And it's kind of been weird. It's been hot, and then it's cool, and then it's cool outside and the building's hot.
It's felt fallish almost the last couple weeks outside. Of course, I'm sure it'll be headed to the state fair on Saturday. I'm sure it'll be 1,000 degrees in Sedalia on Saturday, but yeah. And then of course the old Jekyll and Hyde Hall of Fame building is the acting up in terms of HVAC. So I believe it's a balmy 87 degrees in my office currently. So we got box fans blowing everywhere. We do have the box fans working. So
no, the fair though, that's like, it's supposed to be hot at the fair. I mean,
but you don't want to just hot swelter, and then there's just miserable, not even enjoyable humidity.
Yeah.
So
when you're just like baking on the asphalt right there.
Yes.
So, back to school almost. Kids got to go back to school.
They go back Tuesday, actually.
Oh, really?
Tuesday in Bolivar. I'm not sure. I'm sure other schools have started. I know some have started this week, and you're starting to see all those, first day of school pics on Facebook and social media and stuff. So it's definitely that time of year.
We need to do some of those.
First day back at the office or something?
Yeah, first day back, like in however many years you've been here is like what grade you're going into.
Okay.
Yeah. Carrie Norris, 19th grade.
Yeah, 19th grade.
Sorry, Carrie. Didn't mean to age you there. My bad. I was always a love-hate relationship for me going back to school, because obviously like the summer's over. You've got more responsibility. You got places to be. But then also like for me, I was always like, back to school means back to football. Mm-hmm. Like, and we were always kind of, they don't do 2-a-days anymore or anything like you can't do that stuff anymore. But we were always end of summer really ramping up. Like we had a lot of time with football, doing a lot of football stuff. So then you kind of knew, oh, school starts. They can't keep us all day, and we're getting closer to games.
Well, and like I'm old enough that we had 3-a-days. So we basically never left school. We went for morning practice, and then we had like meetings or whatever, lunch, and then we had afternoon practice. And I'm not kidding. We had afternoon nap at the school, and then we had an evening practice. It was 3-a-days for like 2 weeks leading up to start of school. So
there's definitely
can't do that anymore.
There's some child labor laws or something.
There was something. There was
I don't know
definitely
what it is.
You're not getting water. Well, it wasn't that mandatory water breaks. I assure you of that. So
jamborees have to be. Are jamborees like this coming Friday?
They may be actually.
You know what I heard though?
Because they usually the school starts, and then the Friday after school starts is usually open week. So
no, I was at a family gathering this past weekend. My step brother-in-law is a coach at Branson.
Okay,
he said people are kind of starting to get away from jamborees for football. He was telling me like a lot of teams now are going to these camps, getting reps in and stuff. And then by the time you're a week out from your first game, which is when teams traditionally have a jamboree, they're not wanting anybody to get hurt.
They
don't want guys. Huh. So they'll send the ones out for like a drive. Yeah. So they get 6, 8, maybe 10 plays. And so people are like, well, if the guys that really, if the starters are only getting like 8 or 10 reps, why are we doing it?
It's to me, jamborees, of course, are preseason football. I don't watch preseason football, NFL, even though I'm excited that football season's coming. I don't watch scrimmages for college. I don't watch preseason football. I'm just not. I mean, there are some that get into it and watch every play and can't get enough of it, but I'm just not one of those people. So
I'm the same with you. I don't care who wins a preseason game. I'm not typically watching a preseason game. If I am, it's probably because I'm trying to watch somebody young and see like how they might look for fantasy maybe. But in terms of like a jamboree in high school, if I was a coach, I mean, you could get hurt at practice. You could get hurt doing a board drill. You could get hurt. You could roll an ankle just stretching.
Well, it's just
I mean?
good to get live reps against someone that doesn't know the play you're running or vice versa, the defense you're running. I mean, to me, it's fun to hit. I remember the Jamboree when we played in high school, and it was fun to hit someone that with a different color jersey.
Yeah, honestly.
That was the whole point of it, really, was to, get you ready for the. And then my senior year, we actually played the number 4 team in the state the next week. And so we needed to play, someone other than ourselves. So, anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited for football to be back, though. Sometimes I love keeping up with high school football in the area. It was a lot easier whenever I was actually covering it, but
it's definitely the fun that you mentioned. Like when I don't really remember being pro or con or, good, bad, or otherwise as a kid, school starting or whatever. Obviously I would rather stay at home and ride my bike and do all that stuff. But, college, when I was in college, I couldn't wait for school, even though summer breaks, the fall was the best time because just everything was new. You got there's nothing like that crisp, you get out of class on a Friday afternoon. There's kind of like a crisp, it's not hot, it's not freezing. And there's a football home game that way. I mean, that's the football. That's my favorite time of the year is fall of the year.
I think we've easily got probably another 20, 30 days of some heat. Some brief periods of heat.
Worst, you mentioned the weird temperature. The dog days of summer really haven't happened yet. That's what I'm afraid of. They're coming. And my wife mentioned the other day is that, in September, you're wanting it to be, sweatshirt and shorts type weather. It's probably going to be 100 degrees and humid in September instead of now. So.
Yeah, I got a wedding in September, a fall, quote unquote, fall wedding. It's going to be 98 degrees. It's all inside. Well, for the most part, but I'm going to be that 3-piece suit. It's going to just shoulders down, just going to be wet, probably just sweating. I'm excited though. I'm excited for that. But, so the unofficial mark to the end of summer, I guess, the Summer Olympics are over. Mm-hmm. We haven't talked a lot about Olympics, but what was your favorite if you're looking back? I know, it's hard to watch them all because it's during the workday and stuff. Well, it's different.
But usually the Olympics, I'm like most people and I'm just watching, you get into it and everything else. It is kind of weird with it being, in France, technically the live stuff is happening while we're asleep. And so,
or at work.
Or you can find out the results before, it's actually showing whatever.
Yeah.
But, was on vacation for a week during the Olympics. We didn't watch any of it. So I didn't really watch a lot, like just sit there and watch it. But I saw enough that it was enjoyable. We had it on here at the office. So every time I would go downstairs and past the TV, I'd have to stop and watch something. Favorite thing that I saw probably was the men's 1500, Cole Hocker.
Oh, yeah.
He's from Indianapolis, which is where I was born and raised, which that's not why I cared at the time. I didn't know he was from Indianapolis till it was over, but just watching that race it's one of those get you excited. And so he comes back, he wins it. Of course, Quincy Hall was it the 400? Quincy.
Yes, 400.
Was it Quincy Hall? Is that his name?
I think so. I think you're right.
He just Great watching him come from, he was getting toasted coming around the corner and he's from, I believe, Raytown South, up in the Kansas City area. And then he just the heart and determination down the stretch and wins that race. So that was probably excitement wise. Of course, the relays are fun, but usually I get into the swimming. My daughter swims, and so I kind of know a little bit more about swimming than I used to. And so
we're not really perennial. Right now in this, Katie Ledecky.
She's a beast. Yeah, but I remember like the Michael Phelps Olympics. Mm-hmm. That was when he was going for what was it, eight medals. Yeah, that was.
We had some guys.
That was awesome. But yeah, some of the things that they do. I don't know, I'm trying to think of some other.
There were several. Women's gymnastics winning team gold. I thought was pretty big. You hit on a lot of the track ones. Noah Lyles winning the 100 was really cool. He won gold, but then he came out and was like, I'm going to get the 3-peat and get the 200 meter as well. And then he doesn't perform well in the final.
Doesn't perform well, but showboats before the race even starts.
Yeah, it kind of bugs me too.
Kinda, you know,
he ran out all hyped up and then doesn't run his best race and then wants to blame COVID.
Yeah,
and I'm
I
like,
was like, whatever.
Yeah, it didn't look like you had COVID before that race.
Exactly. He seemed fine beforehand, but I was not a big fan of that. A couple of things that stood out, like I didn't really watch a lot of it, but the new 3-on-3 basketball is interesting.
Yeah.
Also is it kayak cross?
Yeah, you had told me about that. I didn't get to watch it though.
Crazy.
Yeah,
the way that they just drop down and it's like a free for all down this. That was a lot of fun to watch. And then the break dancing, especially the Australian. And I can't tell if we were all getting trolled or if that was serious or what. But anyway,
I think that's who they'd sent. It was like an older lady. She was a little older. She was like
a dance history
instructor
or something. I don't know, something like that. But
yeah. She probably was. Yeah.
It just looked like we should all be looking around for the hidden camera because it was just.
Is this punked?
It was like Elaine from Seinfeld type stuff. So, anyway.
Yeah. No, I think going back though, what might have ended up being my favorite moment was Steph Curry in the semis and the finals, just absolutely going off.
He went off in the final, especially. I mean, there was some of the stuff that he was throwing up in the championship, the gold medal game, was just unguardable.
Yeah.
There's a pic. One of the best pictures I saw was a picture that I think was the dagger 3, the last one he hit. He was covered, double covered.
Yeah,
I mean, you had two guys like Kevin Durant and LeBron James are wide open.
Yeah,
and I saw like a meme or tweet or something that said, "This is the only scenario in which it's okay to shoot the shot." You've got two future Hall of Famers wide open, yet he's
the best.
He's
shooter
like
of all time.
Double dribble, on fire type deal. But there's a picture that he shoots that shot, and Wemby, who's like 9 feet tall, is jumping to block the shot, and that was a cool moment.
Yeah, it was just really the men's and women's basketball gold medal matches were both really intense, and we talked about it before. We've talked about kind of the evolution of basketball right now, but in years past, for the men's and women's teams to not win gold was just complete and utter failure, and I think there's still that standard, but at the same time, it's not a cakewalk anymore.
It's not a cakewalk, but there's zero reason that they should ever lose gold.
I agree. But it is very apparent with the competition that they're playing that the rest of the world is catching up.
More so on the men's side, I would say, but definitely women are catching up as well. But and to be honest with you, I would much rather watch synchronized swimming than the basketball at the Olympics.
That synchronized swimming amazes me.
Which is crazy. I don't understand how they
hold their breath for so long,
And then doing the same thing. There was synchronized diving, which apparently is a thing. That was unreal.
Yeah. And they have to be very technical about like their splash and all that kind of stuff.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah. I like the badminton, the ping pong. Just really crazy.
Out in the world.
Crazy.
The hand-eye coordination involved in ping pong is unreal.
If I was playing an Olympic sport, not saying that I would succeed at it, but it would probably have to be ping pong.
Yeah, I figured Forrest Gump in the corner, practicing against the wall. Is that not you? No.
I can play a little bit. I mean, on the casual, circuit.
Okay.
But
are you throwing down a gauntlet or something?
Am I throwing?
Okay.
We'll have to ship a table in or something. We'll have a little staff.
I'll tell you what's surprising is pickleball was not in the Olympics, was it?
No.
That surprised me that's not an Olympic sport now, as popular as it is. So
yeah, I don't know. Now, did you see though that 2028 they're already flipping the page to 2028, which is in LA. It's first time we've hosted an Olympics since like 2000.
It was in LA in 84.
Well, we've hosted some summer.
Summer was 96 in Atlanta, and then I know that we've had a Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City at some point.
Yeah, it was like 2002, I think. So it's the first time the Olympics are going to be back in the U.S. for quite a while. But flag football, how do we feel about that? Well,
you're talking to a flag football legend over here.
Oh, no, so. The intramurals. Here we go. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yay.
I don't know. Here's my honest opinion, and it kind of goes back to the basketball discussion. If we were playing legitimate contact football, nobody would hold a candle to the United States. I mean, it would be like watching.
Well, it's the way basketball used to be. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, basketball used to be, we were the only country really playing it.
But it would be like watching grown men play Mighty Mites.
Correct.
Opponents. So I don't really love the whole flag football aspect because it's like, that's not the type of football is not a finesse sport. Mm-hmm. It's not about pure athleticism.
Honestly, flag football, I think the thing that it compares to, in all seriousness, I have played at a high, well, when I say high level, I've been to the national tournament in college or whatever. I've seen it played at a high level, and it's very comparable to the 7-on-7 stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
It's essentially what it is. It's 7-on-7, and you're not blocking or necessarily up front. It's basically route running and defending and stuff like that.
There is scheme too, I guess, 100%. In terms of the route combinations that you run and everything. I was also surprised, and you're talking to an Oklahoma fan here, but they announced it with commercials during the Olympics. Did you see those? It was outside of the Coliseum, and it was actually Jalen Hurts was who they picked to say, like, he's like, it's our turn now or something like that. And then he throws the ball and like lights a torch or something. And I was like, so we're going to.
I did see that basically Ice Cube and Snoop were at Long Beach doing a concert as the Olympics were closing in Paris.
I didn't see that.
They were doing a concert in Long Beach, which is kind of like a nod back to
cool. That's cool.
Chronic, back in the early 90s.
Yeah. But surely if we're going to hold down the fort here on home turf and like defend our sport for the first time in the Olympics, we're going to send Jalen Hurts to do it. I mean, I can just name 5 guys off the top of my head that are better than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, what went into that? Like, what deal was made there? We couldn't get Patty. We couldn't get Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Any of these guys? What's going on here?
Don't know.
We'll see. We got the Hall of Fame Fantasy League coming back. Switch gears here.
Morning chili dogs looking to repeat.
Nobody has any idea what you're talking about. Morning chili dogs. That's that's Byron's defending championship team.
The reigning Missouri Sports Hall of Fame Fantasy League champions. We need to come up with some type of penalty for finishing last. What can that be, I wonder? Yeah.
One that I've always heard that I like is the 24-hour either McDonald's or Waffle House. Yeah. You have to stay there for 24 hours. And like for every every waffle you eat, it takes an hour off or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, it would be kind of funny. Dude, we'll have to come up with something. So
that's good. I saw one recently at Luke Combs, the country singer, I guess his fantasy league, the losers like tied for 2 of his friends tied for last place, and they had to sing like a song in front of a crowd of 30,000 or whatever, and they wearing like a specific outfit or something that it was definitely embarrassing. But we need to come up with something
for sure.
I don't even know what it would be Hall of Fame wise that we could do that would be.
Yeah, they have to stand up there and do an enshrinement.
Yeah, they got to do the enshrinement. That's right.
Or maybe the anthem.
They got to sing the anthem. That's kind of demeaning to the anthem.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, no, that's not great. Cancel that. Check that. We'll cut that out. We'll cut that part out. Yeah, it's it's crazy. My phone, my social media knows me so well. Like this time of year, it just starts feeding me all these like mock draft, like draft strategy, 0 running back strategy, all this stuff.
Do you have a strategy?
I typically do like a hybrid 0 running back, which essentially means that you pick majorly wide receivers up at the top, try to stack good wide receivers off the top, and then take a running back really late.
My strategy is the day of the draft, find some type of ranking sheet and lay it in front of me, and that's my strategy.
Yeah. Well, this is the guy who's like calling me.
I guess if I have a strategy, it's basically best player available. I mean, I find some reputable ranking of the top 100 players based on whatever league we're doing and just do best player available.
No, this is the guy who calls me like 2 minutes before our draft last year. And it's like, what am I doing? How is this?
Like the first 3 rounds, I don't know what happened.
It obviously didn't hurt you too bad.
It didn't. I knew exactly what I was. I picked the players that. Thank you, Christian McCaffrey.
You were trying to psych me out and get me away from my laptop.
Yeah, you can laugh now, but we saw what happened.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you keep talking smack, and I'm gonna have to make sure my team. I hate fantasy. I don't know why. You hate it. It's the biggest love-hate relationship in the world. It is so stupid because we get so engulfed in it, and there's all this smack talk, and everybody's trying to get bragging rights, and there's so much luck There's so much luck that goes into it.
We literally have nothing. We don't throw a single pass. We don't run the ball. We don't catch the ball. It's literally luck. You're right.
Yeah.
It's pretty much.
I remember being, I don't know, like a freshman in high school, maybe. And this is like my original like OG fantasy league with some of my buddies. First year we did it. We're like, let's draft early. Let's draft early before the preseason. We'll get it out of the way. And this was like prime, like Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers era. And somebody takes Jordy Nelson, like first or second round. And then he got hurt, like season ending injury in practice or a preseason game or something. And we're like, all right, we're going to draft as close to the season start now as we can. Because that's the luck. That's the luck factor.
That's fun. We have nothing to do. I mean, one injury can derail an entire season. So
yeah,
there's a lot of luck. It's fun. If I didn't play, I wouldn't miss it. I enjoy it, but
yeah,
I'm not actively seeking to be in 8 leagues. This is the only league I'm in. So
it seems to continue to be growing.
I think my family, like the extended family, is wanting to do one, but I don't.
I'm telling you, it seems to be growing year over year in popularity, at least in my eyes, because every year I've got somebody new asking me like, hey, you want to join our league? You want to join our league? And I'm always like, man, I really don't need to join another
kind
one.
Of similar topic, I guess. I saw that that college football and basketball, I don't know if it's official or what, but they have to divulge injury reports the day of games starting now, which has not been the case, and that's obviously.
But that's like NFL. That's like the NFL standard, right?
The NFL they've had to do that for a long time, but now college, with the increase in online sports betting and stuff, it's I think it's a requirement.
That's crazy.
That just came out recently. So
that's crazy. I was talking to somebody about it. Like college football is just going to look entirely different this year. It's just it's a business now.
It is. It has been for a long time, but now they're just not even trying to hide it. It's just is what it is.
Yeah.
You got the big 2. I think 8 of the top 10 preseason poll is from Big 10 or SEC.
Yeah.
And if you look at the top 25, it's probably close to 20 teams probably. I think that the SEC has 9 teams in the top 25.
They did release the AP poll earlier this week.
And I heard that it's the exact same teams. It's the same 25 teams in both polls, slightly changed.
Really?
They have the exact same top 12, I think. Yeah. But there's a handful of teams that are swapped, but it's the same 25 teams.
Well, name, image, likeness is the biggest thing right now in college football. And that kind of goes into those preseason polls.
If you look in basketball, especially the new king of NIL, guess. BYU.
Really? Get out.
BYU is rolling in NIL money right now. So
it's just like the Mormon
church
is just like funding.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know.
No, that surprises me.
But they are throwing money hand over fist at basketball right now. So
yeah, no, it's gonna be crazy. I just I'm so ready for college football. It's just gonna be so weird. And like as a guy who like I've always been an OU fan, I've had like a really strong like Big 12 like conference, whatever you call it, like bias. And like now that they're in the SEC, there's none of that. It's like they're playing in the best conference, undoubtedly now.
It's just crazy. I mean, I can't. As a fan, it annoys me. You know, my team's not in the Big 2. Florida State is languishing in the ACC currently.
Yeah.
But as a fan, I mean, the games that we're going to get are so. I mean, a conference game. You got the Oregons and the Washingtons and the USC's coming over to play what used to be a first 3 weeks of the season game, maybe a bowl game. Now you're getting it every year.
Yeah.
Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC. I mean, you're getting basically the 2 best brands and best programs from the old Southwest Conference, from the Big 8, from the Big 12, and now they're coming over to play with. I mean, I have no problem admitting the SEC is the best football conference.
No, I used to not. I would never do it.
Without question, it is.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it is now to you, but I think it always has.
It always has been. So, it always has been.
I mean, there's no weeks off.
No, it's going to be crazy.
No weeks off, and even Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's awful, but you better play when you go there because they can beat you.
Yeah, on the road, especially. So, yeah.
No, that may be a terrible example. Vanderbilt's awful. They're terrible. But pretty much anybody else in the conference. You go to South Carolina, good luck playing down there. I mean, they can beat anybody on any given week down there.
Yeah, no, I saw a matchup just the other day. I think Arkansas week early. It's like September 9th. Arkansas goes to Oklahoma State. Yeah. And it's like, oh, well, that SEC bias, like, oh, yeah, no, they'll run over, Cowboys. I'm like, in Stillwater early in the season, you're not settled in.
But I'm hearing, I don't know if it's a lot of nothing, but who's getting built up big time that's loaded apparently is Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. A
little bit.
They're like top 10 in both polls, but
yeah, the only thing who
knows if it's for real and they're going to be 4-3 here in a few weeks, or if they're legit. I don't know.
They had some guys go NFL. They lost a really good running back to transfer portal. He went to Ohio State, but really solid quarterback, Jackson Dart. He's really good, and he can recruit. If Lane Kiffin is anything, he's a recruiter.
Well, and he can score points. And as long as his defense doesn't get completely ran over, they're going to be. But I'm excited for Mizzou. I mean, Mizzou's been building. They are number 11 in both polls, and this is the season, if as a Mizzou fan, you've been waiting for. So
I think so.
I think they go take care of business. They're going to be in the playoff with 12 teams. So
I think that they have one of the highest ceilings. They're usually a small circle of national championship contenders.
But then you see, and this is just the SEC, they're picked 6th in the SEC, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, and last year they were picked second to last though on media day. And look at that, they come out and they finish the year 11-2, and they win the Cotton Bowl over Ohio State handedly, or no, it wasn't handedly, but they won.
They beat them pretty good.
But no, like you're like going back to what you're saying about how they're picked 6 in the SEC, and there's going to be so much parity. And like, I remember whenever the schedules came out, I was looking at OU, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't look too bad. This doesn't look too bad. And then you get to November, and it's like Mizzou, LSU, Bama to finish the season. I'm like, you could be 9. Yeah, you could be 9-0, and you're finishing 9-3. Yeah,
welcome to the SEC. Oklahoma.
Oh, it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy. But we're gonna see Florida State. Do you know what their first game is?
Yeah, they play a week from Saturday in Ireland against Georgia Tech.
That's
week
right.
0.
That's right. They should run that. Game.
But they got I mentioned new conference opponents: Memphis, SMU, back-to-back weeks in September. I think it is. Those are not gimme games for a team that. Those are teams that can beat you. So
those are like what you would traditionally call like a group of 5 or like a mid-major school or whatever. They're not really like that anymore.
No. They get Memphis and Tallahassee, but then they got to go to Dallas, and I think that game is like the week before they play like Clemson or somebody. So that's a definition of a trap game.
I think with NIL, a lot of those schools, NIL in my opinion has done 2 major things. Is it's taken the blue bloods and kind of propelled them a little bit more, because they even just have more leveraging power on top of being the championship contender, having coaches that are prestigious. But then I think it's brought up the floor.
I was going to say 100% it has, because the blue bloods may have gone up, but they can't pay everybody.
No, yeah, exactly.
There's only a limited, they've got money, but they've got a limited amount and they can't pay everybody. So therefore the next level are now getting, so I think it has, and I still think we're in the wild, wild west. There's still
no doubt.
It's kind of, to be honest with you, I think, the first few years is the time to be an athlete, because they're getting overpaid. And I think the market will correct itself here in the next few years.
Yeah. And it'll kind of
when they realize, hey, we can't be paying $3 million for this or whatever and have a competitive team.
Yeah.
I think you're going to kind of see it come back to normal.
No, it's insane sometimes. Like, and you never know what's real, what's not, whenever you see stuff on social media, internet, whatever, but like the Nike, there's a big name at Nike who supposedly made this huge donation for NIL to Oregon because he's like older and he's like, I want to see a national championship before I die. And so it's like, you see some of these figures, these dollar figures, you're like, holy cow, like what, like this has been like, some of this stuff has been going on underneath the table for a long time.
Well, and then along the same lines, Oregon's been kind of in the mix. They've played in national championship games, but teams like maybe an Ole Miss or teams, Mizzou, perhaps, teams that haven't been in the mix, realize, hey, if I put my money in, I want to see a national championship, I'm going to put in a substantial amount with multiple commas donation for the purpose of let's not buying a national title, but let's go find the talent that's necessary to win a national title.
Well, and you want to talk about all this parity you could have during the regular season. Now you're not just playing, 15 games if you get to the national championship. You're playing 16.
Well, you got three more to add on to your season if you're going to win it all.
And you could
2 depending on where you're
ranked. You could face that at-large bid. You could face that group of 5 school that's like, had nothing to lose, you know?
I guess you could, I mean, if you're a 5 through 8, I guess you have 4 games.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause the top 4, which I think the hypothetical is
if you're 5 through 12, you got to win 4 to win the title.
Yeah. I don't know if it's in stone though, but I think the champion of the 4 major conferences are going to be top 4 seeds, regardless of like record. I think.
Okay.
But yeah, all those other schools, you got 8 teams that got to play an extra game right there.
Which, I mean, if you're not a 1 or 2 seed, I would almost rather be the 5 seed than the 3 or 4. Because I'm going to get a home game on my campus.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I'm sure the coach would never say that because the coach has to play 4 games instead of 3 and injuries and fatigue and everything else. But if I'm balancing the budget at the university, I would love a home game, though. And I don't know. I assume they get to keep the revenue on that.
Oh, yeah. No, so, you would think. Yeah, which will be insane. And then you've got all the TV deals for that.
Can you imagine, even here in Missouri, if Mizzou finishes 5 through 8 and they're hosting a playoff game in Columbia? Can you imagine how crazy that town will be?
Insane.
And early December, I guess it is.
I guess so. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
No, it's going to be crazy. Like, we're going to see it come down to like week 12, you're going to have to secure a win. You're going to have to win a conference championship to guarantee yourself a spot, you know? And so teams are going to have to play.
You got the whole, I don't know who's playing conference championship games and who isn't, but I think, in my opinion, if you don't win, if you have to play a conference championship game and you have to win it to get in, then a team that didn't play in a conference championship game should not jump. I mean, I just thought,
but you're not going to see that as much anymore because you're not having like that really weak Big Ten where you've got like, you know, you've got like a 4-loss, whatever, Nebraska or Minnesota that's playing.
And I'm thinking in terms of a scenario, kind of going back to, I don't know what year it was, 05-ish, when Mizzou beat Kansas. Mizzou lost to Oklahoma then in the championship game. Yeah. And then Kansas jumped Mizzou. That's the scenario. Mizzou beat them head to head and Kansas didn't play in the championship game and then jumped. But that's the scenario I'm talking about.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see though. Just teams are essentially going to have to win 4 or 5 straight games to get a national championship.
It's crazy. And who knows, maybe this gets adjusted. Yeah, because you got Heisman Trophy winner or something gets knocked out in the second round of a 4-round playoff or something. Yeah. It'll correct itself. The whole NIL, without congressional, oversight, it'll correct itself. The market will correct itself because you can't. I mean, teams that are paying, they're just going to realize we can't keep doing this. This is not sustainable. So
yeah. I'm going to be here for it, though.
Oh, yeah.
College football till I die.
100%.
Well, if you made it this far in the episode, we appreciate you joining us. Always talking about the latest things in sports. Summer's over, headed back to football. School's going back on. A lot of Hall of Fame stuff going on as well. Be sure to follow us on social media, all platforms. Keep up with everything that's going on. Sometimes we do some giveaways, new episodes of the podcast, too. Every Wednesday, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Byron.
We'll see you next week.
Catch you next time on another episode of Where the Game Lives On.